Oh, thank you.
Chris, go ahead.
Chris Cartman, son of a source. Kenny, wanted to ask about Sam Levitt's continuing evolution. Um, where do you feel like he has the ability to make the biggest gains this year?
Early down passing, obviously, being able to control the game on earlier downs. That's not just, big play action shots, nakeds, boots, screens, just early down passing. I think that's an area that if he improves that, the sky's the limit.
You talk to him about previous guys you've coached, like a Bo Nix or others, and their trajectory and how they accomplished what they did.
Of course, and we actually talked about it yesterday. We talked about, Bo's the difference in his completion percentage from his transition from Auburn to Oregon and the amount of sacks he took. And like I told him yesterday, because Sam wants to be perfect all the time. He wants to be the best. So we were talking about it. I'm like, he took 5 sacks that year, his first year at Oregon. He did this, he did that. And I'm like, but he's not you. We don't run the same stuff. Don't chase that. Play your game. And I think his game will naturally elevate this year because of the work he's put in. But I don't want him to think about those things. I just want him to go play his game because he's a phenomenal football player. So that type of prep is kind of the haze in the barn there. So it's time to see if all the work he's put in, what that shows. And I have a lot of confidence in him.
Blake, again, Blake Neiman, Fox 10 News. There's been a lot of steps to make home field advantage as big as possible this fall. I guess, what do you hope home field advantage looks like here at Mountain America Stadium this fall?
Yeah, I hope it's like last year. I hope there's a true advantage. I hope our guys run out of the tunnel and they're like, holy cow, there's 14,000 students like that you're staring at as you run out on the field after the fireworks. And then you look to the left and your right and the crowd's packed. And I think that's the environment that's going to happen, based off ticket sales and the renewals and all that stuff. I really believe the environment on Saturdays are going to be unbelievable.
What do you expect this Saturday?
I expect an unbelievable crowd. I mean, I think, Doug gives me good information. So he was like, I think there's like 40,000 tickets, I believe, sold, not including student tickets, where we're expecting, 14,000, hopefully, students. So, I mean, we feel like there's going to be an unbelievable crowd there to kick it off. And it's not going to be 120. So that's a plus that it actually may kick off under 100, which is nice.
Hi, Kenny. Doug Haller with The Athletic. When you signed Jordan Tyson, did you see him becoming the type of playmaker that he's become today?
Yeah, I mean, to say that you see him become, as elite as he's become, you envision that. But that work that he's put in, I mean, he's earned what he's, the accolades he's getting. Now, you saw the tape his freshman year at Colorado of him just absolutely dominating as a true freshman at times. You can see the acceleration, see the ball skills. I mean, I believe he returned a punt versus Arizona State in his true freshman year. So you could see all the skill set to be elite. So I did anticipate him being an elite player. I think he's really taken that and he's put in the work to double down on his talent. And I think that's the part that excites me the most is his maturity level, his commitment to be great now. He's really dove into the work.
And then one last thing. If you're out of practice or just last week, I noticed Hines is always in his ear. How important do you think that relationship has been in his development?
Critical. When you have a guy who's been there and done what you want to accomplish, a lot of the things you want to accomplish, and for him to be able to constantly give you feedback and constantly coach you, and then Hines is a guy who lives and practices what he preaches. He doesn't say be a hard worker and then the last coach in the building. Hines is arguably one of the first coaches in the building. Like Hines is one of the most prepared people. So when you think of just Hines Ward and the preparation he took to football, he takes that same thing to coaching, and I think that correlates to the players, and I think the players can feed off that.
Hey, Kenny, Jordan Ham, Sports 360 AZ. Can you just give us an update on any injury updates or any players that may be unavailable on Saturday?
Yeah, offensively, I mean, the only guy right now, I mean, we have a couple guys dinged up. When it comes to the depth, AJ Ia got dinged up the other day. Other than that, it's the same guys that have been dinged up for the beginning of camp, and the guys that haven't gone through camp. Other than that, Man got dinged up here the last day, but he should be back pretty quickly, if not even by Tuesday, right? So, knock on wood, offensively, haven't had many, really both sides of the ball. We haven't had many injuries during camp. The only Michael Gardner, unfortunately, for his Achilles tendon. We're actually doing like rehab for another injury, which was unfortunate. But like I told him, everything happens for a reason. So, I mean, maybe your body wasn't ready to come back this year dealing with other things. And maybe this was a way for your body to heal and get ready and prepare for next season. We've had two other guys go through a similar injury, one not here, one here, and they both are starting for us. So I think that was the challenge to him was like, hey, everything happens for a reason, and that's the reason, and go to work and, relationships with your teammates and rock and roll.
Hey, Kenny, Hoder, Reno Devils Digest. You and the coaches, the players have talked so much about the continuity and how much of the roster is coming back, and really not to overcomplicate things because you do have a winning formula. You do have a lot of players and coaches, for that matter, that have been there, done that. Having said all that, what do you want this team to look different this year to repeat that level of success, let alone exceed it?
Yeah, I would say look different. We should be able to be a little better with disguises on defense, right? Knowing the defense, we should be around the ball more on defense, knowing the strengths and weaknesses, the coverages, being able to match patterns a little bit better. We should be able to create more sacks because we should have better unit pass rush, not just solo pass rush, which I think will be better, but unit pass rush. So I would say if you looked at defensively, how do I want to be better? I'd want to say we should be able to disguise things more. We should be able to rush the passer more, and we should be around the ball more, which should equate to a few more takeaways. Even though we were good in that area, all those things can equate to takeaways. So I expect more explosive plays from the takeaway department because of those three things. Offensively, I'd say we're going to be hopefully a better early down passing team. That doesn't mean we're going to go out there and sling it 90 times, right? It just means a couple more times a game. We got to be able to control early downs and passing. I hope there's the consistency in running the ball like we did last year, which I believe we will. I have a lot of confidence that that's going to be there. Offensively, I hope we're more explosive. If there's one thing you could say about our offense last year is we weren't overly explosive. We didn't have huge plays. We didn't have one-play touchdowns very often unless we checked a screen or we threw a home run post, which posts don't get completed much in college football. That's a rarity. If you're leaning on home run posts to be your explosive plays, it's not going to be fun. So you got to have other ways to create explosives. So I would say more explosive plays for us, continuing to run the ball, which is the same, so it doesn't answer your question. So I would say those two things offensively, mainly just the more explosive plays, which should show up in early down passing.
Hey, Kenny. Max Bitta, Walter Cronkite Sports Network. Good to see you again. More importantly, when it comes to the special teams, you've mentioned throughout camp how impressed you've been with how special teams has progressed. Jesus Gomez, obviously integrating him into this system and trying to make him become the number one place kicker. What have you kind of seen? What have you and Coach Riggle seen from his growth from the start of camp till now? And second part, what is your confidence in him going into week one that he is ready to go for the clutch situation whenever he's needed?
Yeah, I would say his growth, to be honest, not much. This kid is dialed. Since the moment he got here, he has been dialed in to be the very best. Nothing really rattles him. He's the hardest critic on himself, and he's very, very consistent. You're not going to wake up and say, "What Jesus am I going to get today?" You know what you're going to get. You're going to get a dude who's going to walk his line. He's going to walk his steps in pre-practice. He's going to have the exact same process over and over again, and I've got the utmost confidence in him. I actually joke around to the team how much confidence I have with him kicking field goals. And another guy who's done a great job is Kiefer. Kiefer's a guy who, he went in there and made kicks late in the season, the championship game and even the Peach Bowl. One of them was blocked, but that wasn't on him. But he made kicks, and he's out to the 50-yard range now, which is testament to his strength and how much he's put in work to become stronger. But he can make them from 50 a little bit further sometimes. So I think that position as a whole has gotten drastically better.
Michael, Jacob, Chris.
Michelle Gardner, Arizona Republic. Kenny, can you kind of talk about Sam's maturity and how much he values his teammates, whether it's getting them NIL deals, putting his merchandise back into the collective, and what that says about how he values his teammates?
Yeah, I think Sam understands that you need a team around you to be a good quarterback. right? You have to have the pieces around you, and the pieces around you are what make you look better, right? If you throw the ball and it's a slant route and it goes for 9 because a guy gets his heels clicked versus it goes for 89, right? You look a little bit better at quarterback at the end of the year if you have 5 of those. So I think he understands that. I think he also understands it's a privilege to be in the situation he's in, and he's earned all of that. He's worked his butt off to go from, where he was 12 months ago to where he is today. And he wants to give back because that's the nature of who he is. Sam isn't about all the extra. Sam's about ball. So when you talk about giving back to people, when you talk about all of that stuff, that's just stuff he wants to do because he's a good person. And he really doesn't care about all the money as much as he does the ball. Like, that dude loves ball. He's obsessed with football. And I think that's really what defines Sam and is his X factor, is how much he loves the game and is obsessed with being great.
Michael, Jacob, Chris,
Coach Michael Carrotino, Pitchfork Lunch. You talk about, obviously, in recruiting, I mean, guys that want to be here and everybody that came back. But my point is with the depth, how do you feel that the depth developed from the spring till now to push the guys that are in front of them?
Yeah, I definitely think our competitive depth on this team is high. I mean, if you look at our depth chart, you could argue, like, holy cow, this dude would start at most places. And I think you can do that for a lot of different positions, on a lot of the parts of our team. It's like, this guy could start if he were somewhere else. I think it's a testament to people wanting to be here, a testament to the players wanting to be here. But it's a positive, and it pushes each other because there's a guy behind you that can play and will play. And I think that's going to be the difference this year. Is I think we're going to rotate some guys to make sure we get all those guys in the field, keep guys fresh more, because I do think our competitive depth is very high.
Hey, Kenny. Sorry. Hey, Kenny, Jacob Brooks, Sendable Source. So last time we were in here ahead of fall camp, you talked about how guys like Sam and Jordan, they could never succumb to outside pressure because the expectations that they have for themselves are much higher than the expectations anyone could place on them. I was wondering, what specific goals have you heard them talk about having for themselves this season?
I mean, I'm not going to get into the conversations that I have with those guys, on a personal level and a deeper level. I think that's something that if they want to share, they can share. But I just know what their goals and their dreams are far beyond what other people, can write about. And I think that's what makes them great, and that's what gives me unbelievable confidence in them. And I think that's the same case for a lot of our guys. I think a lot of our guys have goals and aspirations that are beyond what people think about them. And it's one thing to have goals and aspirations that are, laughable. It's another thing to work for those goals. And I think a lot of our team has those goals and they're working towards those goals. They're not just hoping they happen. And a lot of people hope goals happen. Some people forced to make them happen. And I think we got a lot of guys in our team who are doing everything they can to make them happen. Whether they achieve them, I don't know, because they're going to be hard. But I know they're putting in the work for it.
After what Camp accomplished last year, there's going to be a big spotlight on the running back position. So just what makes Kyson Brown ready from a maturity or emotional standpoint to kind of handle that? And also, what is it about him as a player that's evolved to where he is ready, in your opinion, for that?
Yeah, Kyson's just put in the work. He's one of our strongest guys on our football team. Everybody rules him as the super fast guy from high school, right? But now he's over 205 pounds, or around 205 pounds. And like I said, he's one of the strongest guys on our team. One of his biggest things he did was when he got here, he was a fast guy. Fast guys are naturally a little bit stiffer. He has put in an extreme amount of work to create flexibility, to be able to make smoother cuts, and it is a drastic difference. If you watch him as a true freshman to him now, they're almost like two different players, and the reason for that is the work that he's put in to become more flexible and become more fluid. And he's no longer just a fast guy. He's a fast guy that's 200 pounds. He's a fast guy that's fluid. He can now catch the ball. He could always catch, but he can catch the ball at a higher rate because how many times he catches the ball in the jugs. So I think what gives me confidence in him is that if the ball's in his hands or if he has the ball, I know that he's going to give everything he's got because that's all he's done for 3 years. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, I can sleep really well at night knowing that that kid's poured everything he could into the program, into himself.
I know you're going to play several running backs.
Correct.
Will Kyson be the first one that we see on Saturday?
It just depends on the game plan. We haven't solidified that yet. Ralik's had an unbelievable camp. Ralik's another guy who's gained, 20 pounds this year, and you can see it. He looks good. He plays good. I don't know. Those guys are really close. So I think it just depends on what the early calls are. They're both really good in pass pro now. I mean, they're both really good players. Like, I'm excited to see them both play in a live setting. People have to tackle them. I mean, we haven't done that a little bit, but we got to play football again. So that's the fun part. If you play running back, and Ralik's gotten so much better at ball security. He's really worked on that. We've really challenged him, and he's improved. So I'm excited to see him have to do that in a live game, see his ball security when the bullets fly, because that's what matters at that position, is not just how many yards you run for, not how explosive you are, but can we trust you to take care of the football?
Kenny, Cameron Cox, 12 News. Just curious, how different is the game day excitement, game week excitement this year than when you got here? And then when you got here, you asked the community to reinvest in this program. It seems like they've done that. Just how proud are you, Sun Devil fans?
Yeah, I mean, our ticket sales, unbelievable. I mean, I think it's 7,700 now, or 7,800 new season tickets. Like I said, we're supposed to hopefully have 14,000 students out there, almost a 98% renewal right now. It's the excitement in the Valley is real. The excitement is showing up, especially from the ticket sales and all that stuff. So I mean, it's what I hoped it can become, but it's not where it needs to be yet. Right? We're always growing. We're always trying to become better and bigger and set a higher standard. So I think that's the key. Is you're never satisfied. Somebody says you're always hiking, you're never at the peak, right? Same thing. You're always hiking, you're always climbing. The moment you get there is the moment you go down the other side, right? And if you want to, get somewhere, you got to keep hiking.
Kenny, Colin Harmon, ABC 15. Back to your confidence in Jesus. Generally speaking, how much does that kind of change your aggressiveness on fourth down? Obviously, situation. But.
Yeah, definitely changes some situations. We're still going to be aggressive on fourth down. I wholeheartedly believe in that, being aggressive. I think it's a mindset for your football team that you're not going to play scared. And while some people rule it as a negative to the defense, I rule it as it's a positive to our football team that we're going to play this game aggressive, as if we're going to be successful, not as we're scared to fail. And are we going to try to be smart with it? Of course. But does that mean that we're going to be scared of it? Absolutely not. But are we going to be able to kick a 52-yard field goal on a 4th and 6 and feel good about it? Yeah, very good, right? So you may see some of those go down, but everybody knows it from our stats. If we get to a 4th and 1, buckle up. The odds are we're going for that thing. If we get to a 4th and 2 and it's high percentage, people have watched our film. It's not a secret. We have a philosophy in terms of how we want to be aggressive, and that's going to stay consistent.
One more for you, just with Ben getting the nod at center. Across the offensive line, what have you seen from that unit throughout camp?
Yeah, they've grown together. They communicate well. They're all friends. They're massive. They're big people. We have a big O-line, massive people. You stand behind them, and you can see the size, which is positive. They're creating movement, and we have a pretty good D-line, and at times in practice, they're creating movement. At times in practice, our defense is knocking them back, so it's back and forth. But the key for me is you can see the times that it clicks and the combos are together, and you're like, whoa, that is a powerful double team, right? And those are the things that excite me when you get into a game week is how many times can we create that whoa moments of, man, that was a powerful double team? Because at the end of the day, football's about moving people. You got to move the people. If you move the people, you move the ball. If you move the ball, you scored the points, right? It's pretty simple.
Hey, Coach.
5 questions here, starting with Adam, Damon, Ryan, Tim, and then Jordan.
Coach Adam Beadle, Arizona Varsity. Kind of want to talk about, you talked a little bit about last week about how NAU will kind of confuse things defensively. How do you think that'll kind of be a good test for your offense early on in the season?
Yeah, Coach Wright, being an offensive guy, he knows what give offenses problems. And they do a lot of things that give offenses problems. And I think that's just a testament to him having a say on multiple sides of the ball and him being able to, allow his defensive coordinator to play blitz cover 0 on 2nd and 10. and being able, most head coaches, they play the game a little bit more scared. You don't want to play blitz 0 on 2nd and 10 because you're scared of what can happen. You look at, they had one of the most successful seasons in the last, 10, 15 years there. They're a top 25 team. They were a playoff team because they don't play scared. And I think it's a testament to their head coach. And both sides of the ball create a lot of pre-snap confusion. They do a really good job making you communicate and hopefully slow, and hopefully not for us, but their goal is to slow opponents down by forcing them to communicate constantly, double backs on offense, reverses, FIB formations back to regular, unbalanced. Defensively, they're in bear, they're an odd stack, odd broken stack, 4 down. It's like, how many times can they make you communicate? And I think that's a philosophy that they use on all 3 phases, and it was very successful for them last year. And going into a week 1, those are the teams you don't want to face because it's communication. And you're in week 1. You want to face the team that's like 4 down quarters and where they're going to be, not the team that you have to over communicate. So kudos to them. They've done an unbelievable job there.
Hey, Kenny, Damon Allred, Arizona Sports. A lot of the conversation has been around complacency and kind of fighting that. Just, you've mentioned the 50 years of history that the team is fighting against. What part does Sam Levitt play in that with his approach to work and just the way he leads the offense as well?
Yeah, Sam's, like I said, an ultimate competitor. His dreams are huge. And I think our football team as a whole, the few times that I mentioned those things are really in combat. When I take the media head on, when I see things go out and floated out about those comments in the media, well, I want to approach it with my team. I don't want our team. I don't want our team to read things and not talk about them. I want to attack them. So 99% of the time, we focus on today and being the best version of us today. And every once in a while, there's things that pop up that I just want to put to bed for our players like that, like 50 years, Big 12, back to back. All these funky stats that they hear. Here it is. Now, who cares? You know how to solve it? Go to work today and repeat, repeat, repeat. And, our team meeting today, the message was, how hard is it to attack 12 Mondays? Oh my God, that's difficult. Great teams cannot attack today with everything they got and then wake up and do it again, then wake up and do it again consistently for 4 months. It's so difficult, and that's what separates teams. Some teams are wired to do it, and it doesn't matter anything other than being your best. And I think that is the constant challenge here is this our best Monday that we've ever had in program history? Can we say we were more focused today? And if we can do that, and we can have a Tuesday, right, then who knows where it's going to end up. It's all about today.
Ryan, Tim, and George.
Hey, Coach. Ryan Myers, Devil's Digest. For you, coming into this season after everything that happened in 2024, how do you feel personally from where you guys were at the start of last year to where you're at the start of this season and kind of having a complete new expectation basis going into the new year?
The exact same. Literally the exact same, except I know that there's going to be a lot more fun environment out there when we take the field. But the exact same. Coaches, you live in a constant state of paranoia, right? You live in a constant state of, am I doing enough? And I think most people, you want to be your very best. It doesn't matter where you are. That's the satisfied point. You're constantly trying to be better. And if you're not, then there's a problem. Golly, what's the goal? There's not a peak to this thing. There is no peak. You just be your very best every day. So where do I feel? I feel the exact same that I felt when we were 3-9. Unfortunately, I wish there was a reprieve. I wish I could be like, oh, I feel great. This is awesome. No, not at all. I feel the exact same. Except I hope that we have, people cheering when we're on defense and it's 3rd down, which we will.
Tim Healy, Sun Devil Radio. Kenny, you touched on NAU a moment ago. I'm just curious if you have any thoughts about some of their personnel, particularly on offense. Ty Pennington, their quarterback, I think was the Big Sky newcomer of the year a year ago. Is he a dual threat guy that you have to be careful
Yes, he is. And he's been in their system. He came over with them, and he did a phenomenal job last year for him. He's a dual. He's intelligent. He knows where to go with the football. You can clearly see that. He checks them into good plays. So like I said, anytime you have a returning starter off of a team that was, a top 25 team, and anytime you're going into year 2 with the amount of returning starters they have, and the style of team that they play, that's a tough opponent to play early because of what they do schematically, the amount of returning starters, and anytime you get your quarterback back. And I know specifically on offense, they have 8 returners back. I mean, roughly. I mean, you always have the rough game of returners back. So specifically on offense, they got roughly that back, which is a lot for a second-year head coach.
Hey, Kenny, all offseason we've talked a lot about the player continuity, but where have you seen the continuity within the coaching staff show up this offseason and this fall camp, and where has that benefited you most?
Less wasted time. You're not having to go through, hey, remember pregame, you guys stand here and we stand here, and at 4 minutes we rotate, and then you guys go through the routes, and we're going to throw these routes, and then at 7, and you multiply that times every period in practice we do, right? Every meeting we have, there's kind of an expectation of what's needed, which when you're more efficient like that, you can focus your time on the players more, right? Not the planning of how you're going to act when you're around the players. You can actually focus on the game plan. You can actually watch more film. You can actually create better cut-ups and not be, dog tired as well. Because you can always do as much as you want, right? But there's a point of diminishing return. Because we have continuity, it gives us more time to prepare for our players, to watch tape and be better coaches for our players, because we're not doing all the operational stuff. We're not getting to know each other as much, which is better. We can just go coach football because we know the expectations and we know each other more. Thank you. See you later.